Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls coming to you from the West Coast. Today I wanted to share a really fun card. I intended it to be a rocker card, and then it kind of rocked. It didn't rock well, so I didn't cut. I was intending to cut the waves to be round so that it would rock more. And I didn't like the way that it rocked because it just kept falling too far. So I made it not a rocker card, but it's still just kind of a tent fold card. And you can put your message on the back. Really fun. Great for anyone who loves sailing, obviously, but tends to be, you could use it for a male or a female. So, and it's actually really easy to put together. So let me show you how it's made. So we start with the boat itself. And what I did is I took two strips of paper that were I created a strip that was 2 1/4 inch wide. And about, I've got 2 of them that are about 5 1/2 inches. So 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have this circle cutter, and I cut, and I sort of set it so that the blade was right at the bottom, and then cut the circle. So it's essentially just not even half of a circle, because you can see, even if I cut it, if I put them together, it's not half. So you can cut a circle, one circle. I just cut 2 partial circles because I didn't have enough to cut the full circle. But if you cut the circle and then take like about, I think this is a 5-inch circle, and then just cut, an inch out of it. Let's see if it was a 5-inch circle. So yeah, it's a 5-inch circle, and there's actually only just over 1/2 inch out of the middle. So take a 5-inch circle, cut it in half, and then cut 1/4 inch off each piece, and you'll get your boat. But you can cut it however high you want. It's just, if you make it too high so that it starts to slope back in, it doesn't look right. So you want to cut it short of halfway. So this is half a circle and then a 1/2 inch down. So those are my boat. And then I'm going to use my mast, which is the center post in the sailboat, the mast, to create the easel. And I took a strip of, this is heavyweight white card, and it's 11 inches by 1/2 inch, and just scored right in the middle. And then I've got a 1/2 inch strip of black card that I'm just going to glue on the top. And I don't care if it doesn't go all the way to the end, because that's going to be glued to the blue anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I'm going to go ahead and glue that mast, that black, onto this card. And I tend to score first and then glue on, because if you glue it and then try to score it and fold, I always end up with like it doesn't score and fold right. I don't know why, but probably because I try to do it too soon before the glue is dry, and it doesn't work very well. So I score it first and bend it, and then don't glue on the fold, just glue on each side. And then we're going to take this and we're going to glue it on each side right in the middle. So you can mark the middle of the card on one side. You only need one side. Let me find my ruler. And if this is a 5-inch circle, we're going to come in 2 1/2. Just put a little mark. And we'll put some glue on either side of that. And I used my glass mat to try and get it straight. So you can see I've got it right on the bottom, and then use these lines to make sure, because it's round, right? So you want to get it straight. And then center that and use this part to get it straight going up. Okay. Then you're going to come down and put some glue on this side, And put your other half circle, or not quite half circle, just right on top, and then it should be in exactly the same location. Okay, just like that. And that creates the basics. As I've shown you before with rocker cards, to keep them from getting the what they call Bambi legs, you know, and doing this kind of thing, I use these little springy things on the inside to hold it together. And this card is 4 inches by 1.5 inches, and then I just scored it at 1/2 inch until all the way up. And then if you just glue this on the inside of the card, it's kind of right below that center. Like that. It keeps the card from spreading apart. But see, now you see why I didn't leave it as a rocker card. Because the circle is actually too small for the height, and you get too much weight at the top, and it tends to tip over. So that's why I didn't do it. That's why I added the waves at the bottom to keep it from rocking. Now on this one, I actually used some pattern paper for the sails. And to create these sails, it's a 5.5 inches across the bottom, or no, 5 inches across the bottom by 4.5 inches high. And then I just marked at 2.5 inches and cut. So I take a square of card, put them back together, and then it's easy to see. Okay, so this square is 5 inches by 4.5 inches tall. And then across the 5-inch line here, I marked it 2.5 inches. Okay. And then I marked it 2.5 inches down here. And then first I cut from the 2.5 inches down to a corner, and from the center mark down to the other corner. That gives me those two. And then I cut from there down to the mark at the bottom, and that gives me those two. And then I did the same thing with the patterned paper, but I cut it just slightly smaller on both ends, and that gives me a little bit of white around the edge. Now you can cut the same size if you want, and then trim it once it's already cut, but I did it this way. And then this patterned paper is the B side of this pattern paper. So on the back side, I flipped it over just one because it's got like little writing on it. And when I turn it over, you have to turn it upside down, and then the writing's upside down. I didn't like that. This pattern paper came from the Crafter's Companion Seize the Day collection, as did all of the embellishments that I'm going to use. And then we're just going to glue our sails on like this with a little bit of that black showing. And then I made a little flag to go on the top, and you can make a flag, or I'm sure you can cut one. This is just a piece of paper it's 1 inch by 2. And then I just, cut the angles, and then I cut a second one to be exactly the same. And I'm just going to put that right at the top, like that. And if you want to trim these corners off, in fact, I might do it on this one. I didn't do it on the other one, but I'm going to trim a little bit of these corners off. You just don't want to trim too much off, because that's what's holding your card together. But that way when you put your flag on, not so much of the black is sticking out there. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue right up here at the top. And I just colored these with my markers, my alcohol markers. Okay. Now we're going to flip it over and do the same thing on the back side. And you just use the paper on the front to line it up so that you get it even. And there we go. And there's essentially your card. Now, because see, if you did a rocker card, it's just too heavy on the top and it falls over. So to create the waves at the bottom, I have this little trimmer that I've had. It's a cutter peed, I guess. I've had it for a long time. And it's got these replaceable different blades. And this one is like a little wave pattern. And I just cut 3 strips of dark blue, medium blue, and dark blue cardstock. And I'm just going to glue it on right at the bottom. And then I'm going to actually cut it in half. So this piece is 8.5. Because I'm going to use half on the front and half on the back. So let me find 4 1/4. And if you want to round the edges, I forgot, I did it on this one just by hand because I forgot to do it before I glued it on. And once it's on there, my corner rounder wouldn't fit. So if you want to round the edges, which I do like the looks of, make sure you do that before you glue it on. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and just glue that on right at the bottom. Okay, so let's put some glue on our boat. And if you stand it up, then it gets on the, it's easiest. And then do the same thing on the back side. Just line it up with the front so that it's even. And that's what will make your card stand up. Okay. And then it's just decoration. Now I cut a bunch of things from that Seize the Day collection. It has like a little life preserver in there, and you could put these up on foam pads if you want. I didn't. There's one. And then it has a little anchor, which I cut. And then I cut this Seize the Day, and I've got the Sail Away die cut. And I'm trying to decide which one I will use. I kind of like the Seize the Day, but it's kind of big. I think I'll go with the Sail Away. There. And I guess I could put this on the back if I wanted to. No, I'm not going to use it. And that's it. It's pretty straightforward. Stands up. You could leave this white. You could not put the pattern cardstock on there, and then you could use that for your message. And you could also not cut it in half on the back side and just use the solid there, and then you'd have a nice clean white edge to stamp on. I'm just mostly using it for decoration. I'm not going to actually put a message in, so that's why I didn't do it. I like it like that. But if I were going to stamp a message or write a message, I would have not cut that white triangle in half. Use these edges for the front half with the decorative paper, and then put the solid white triangle on the back so you don't have that black in the middle. And now you've got a solid white space that you can stamp on, you can write on, whatever. I think that would definitely be the way to go. So that's what it looks like. Super fun card, easy to make, incredibly easy. You can use nesting dies if you have circle nesting dies that are about that size. this one's a 5-inch. You can make it however big or small you want it. Just adjust the height depending on how big your circle is. So if you had an 8-inch circle, you're going to need to make this taller. Well, you don't have to, but it might look a little funny. But if you had made it big enough, it would be a really nice home decor piece. If you made it smaller, if you wanted to make a smaller one, then I'd just bring this down and make it a little bit shorter and narrower. This triangle is the same width as the circle. So if you had a 4-inch circle, then make this 4 inches. And instead of going up, 4.5 inches, make it 3 inches or, 3.5. See what you like. Sails come in lots of different shapes and sizes, so it works either way. But those are my two. This was my concept card, and that's why it's more white. I didn't put any pattern paper on, and then I started gluing things on, and it's like, oh, oops. And then I inked the white card here, and I do like the blue better, and I used a pearl card, so it's a little bit shimmery, which I really like. And then I put the little, I don't know what they call it, wheel. It's not a steering wheel on a boat, but whatever it is. Anyway, on here, and I felt like it was too big and looked weird, so maybe it would have looked better if it was off-center, more like a decoration as opposed to, I kind of thought, well, that's where the wheel on the boat would be, but it looks really weird to me, so not thrilled with that, but do love how that one came out. So thanks for watching.